Hallo, ich habe euch etwas mitgebracht, ein neues Video. This is going to be my new intro from now on. I said hello, I have brought you something, a new video. This is a reference to two songs in German, and to know the context I recommend you to watch my favorite songs in German video. Autumn season has begun, and now I'm here with my autumn reading plans. I don't plan a lot of books because there might be obstacles in my way. I may encounter books that I want to read much more than the ones I planned. I might enter a reading slump or whatever. However, there are at least 4 books that I want to read. Let me put the microphone over here. Here are 4 books that I definitely am going to read this autumn, and I have already begun reading the first one. Today is September 11th, 2023, and the book I am reading right now, I began reading literally yesterday, is Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. This is the 4th book in the Wheel of Time series. I wanted to read this book in summer. Things happened and I'm reading it in autumn. I have already read the first 94 pages and wow, this was absolutely magnificent. Wheel of Time in general is very easier to read despite the size, and I'm 3 or 4 chapters in and a lot happened in those chapters. And I like that in books when you don't read much, yet a lot happens. You know what? Yesterday when I began reading it in the evening, I had this very magnificent feeling. The autumn fantasy novel, an epic fantasy novel. I felt getting very cozy, and this book is definitely gave me an autumn mood. So far, this is the biggest Wheel of Time book, at least out of those that I own. It has been more than a year since I read a Wheel of Time book. I finished reading Dragon Reborn last August, and there were a lot of details that I did remember and a lot of details that I didn't. Well, I'm really excited to read this book. Oh, and look at my bookmark. I hope you can see it. This is Baby Frodo, literally. I thought that this is the bookmark that fits Wheel of Time, and even the color tone matches the book. Okay, I'm excited. So the next book I'm definitely going to read is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I definitely, when I looked at this book in summer this year, I realized that this would make a good autumn book. So a few months ago that I did begin reading this book, and I even had the orange sticker on it. Orange sticker means that I'm in the process of reading, but eventually I decided to cancel everything and start anew, and therefore I decided to start reading again in the autumn. I'm going to this book completely blind, so I don't know literally anything other than this book is set in the hotel somewhere in Moscow, and there's this count or duke or whatever, and let's see what happens here. But there's going to be one problem for me, because the way foreigners write Russian names, this is going to be a bit confusing for me as a Russian native speaker, because the English readers are going to make a different pronunciation, and I'm going to make a different one. So the next book is actually a spoiler for my future book haul video. I've seen this book everywhere, especially on the Book Leo's channel. At first I did not think of getting the book, but then I decided yes, I need it, and this is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and I like this Penguin Classics edition. This is my 3rd Penguin Classics. The first 2 are books by John Milton, Paradise Lost and Areopagitica and other writings. So I've heard a lot about this book. This is basically a philosophy of Stoicism. It says that you should worry only about things that you can control, and that you should not worry about things that you can't control. Sounds very interesting, and I went through the book and I showed that the book is literally short abstracles. I just look. So basically, I hope you can see this. Has some short abstracles. extemps. In Russian it's abzats. This is short and has a very interesting philosophy, and I decided this would be a good autumn read, and I bought it last month literally, and I decided not to wait and start reading it right now. And finally, the fourth and last book that I'm definitely going to read, and this is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, split in Russian into 2 parts. This is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles series. So I read The Name of the Wind in June. I couldn't put it down as I was approaching the end, but I decided not to rush reading The Wise Man's Fear for multiple reasons. One of those reasons was the making of the Blind Guardian reading vlog. And now that the vlog is behind me, I can go to The Wise Man's Fear. And so these are the 4 books that I'm definitely going to read this autumn. And now there are 2 books that I have a high chance of reading this autumn. So I'm filming this video on September 11th, and this is the first video that I filmed since I came back from vacation, because in late August I went to vacation and took this book with me. This is King Arthur and His Knights of the Round Table by Roger Lancelin Green. The best part about this book is that this is the first book in a long time that I read without reading other books at the same time. Yes, I read multiple books at the same time. I can read one book, put it down, take another, and so on. But this one I read from start to finish without focusing my attention on other books, and so I absolutely love this Arthurian legend, and therefore I decided to continue with Arthurian legends and to read The Fall of Arthur by J.R.R. Tolkien. This isn't very big, this is how much it is, 200 something pages. I hope I get through this. So these books, yeah, definitely 100% I'm going to read, but this is simply has the high chance because I like King Arthur and I like the story. And actually there's a lot to say about this book. Speaking of Tolkien, the back of this book says that Roger Lancelin Green and J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, they all knew each other. Also it says that he was a member of the Inklings Club in Oxford, a group of friends who read and commented on each other's work. Its members included C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. Oh yeah, they met in the club. And also this book says that Roger Lancelin Green is the reason we have the Chronicles of Narnia, because when C.S. Lewis showed Narnia to Tolkien, Tolkien didn't like it, but Roger Lancelin Green convinced Lewis otherwise. Yeah, Narnia fans should be grateful for Roger Lancelin Green for saving Narnia. Now definitely I'm interested in reading Tolkien's interpretation of King Arthur. Let's see how it's going to be. So at the beginning of the year I said that there are definitely 5 books that I want to read this year. One of them I already read, that was Misery by Stephen King. The others I'm reading right now. The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan and The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. And The Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Charles I'm going to read this autumn, and I'm also going to read A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. However, I do feel like this is more a late autumn, early winter book. Probably this is when I'm going to take this book, I guess, I don't know. But there's a high chance that I'm going to read this autumn instead of winter, so yeah. Winter is coming. And yeah, I really want to get into the world of Ice and Fire again. And alright, these are the books that I haven't read, but I'm definitely want to read this autumn. But there are also books that I began reading and I still haven't finished before the end of the summer, so I'm gonna continue these books in autumn, but slowly. First, I want to finish The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I took this book with me to vacation in early August. Yes, I had 2 vacations, and I reached the half of the novel, but I haven't continued, and I definitely need to finish this book. I like it a lot. I am slowly reading these Tolkien books, The Return of the King and The Letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. This book isn't meant for fast reading. I pick this book according to my mood, especially in the evenings. I pick it, read a letter or two, put it back, and so on. And this book, yeah, I definitely am reading this book slowly, just like the Two Towers last year, but I'm definitely going to finish this before the end of the year. I hoped that I would finish this book in a less time than I finished the Two Towers, but this is what we get. And the last book that I am also reading slowly is A House Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones that I began reading in July. The reason I'm reading this book slowly is because it's in Georgian. Had this book been in Russian or English, I would have finished it quite fast, but since it's in Georgian, I need quite a lot of time. This edition is actually very pretty. Gonna be honest, this is what got me into buying the Georgian version, but I definitely want myself a Russian or English version. Alright, that's all. These are all the books that I want to read this autumn, but of course there are going to be more books and that I would want to read, either the newly bought books or the books that I would want to reread, or the books that have been waiting for their turn. Oh wait, there is one book that I forgot. I have completely forgotten one book that I really want to finish this year before the year ends, and this is Atlas Shrugged Part 3 by Ayn Rand. This is A is A. I already begun reading this book and I really hope to finish. So yeah, the book is split into 3 parts. I read the first part in 2021, second in 2022, and let the series, well, it's not a series, but still, let the series end in 2023. Alright, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. What are the books that you want to read this autumn? Let me know down in the comments. See you next time. Goodbye.